You're not family anymore, sweetie. You understand that, right? My mother-in-law's voice dripped with fake sweetness as she stood in the doorway of the lake house, blocking my entrance. Behind her, I could see my husband's entire family gathered around the long dining table. The golden light from the chandelier made everything look warm and perfect. Everyone was laughing. Everyone except me standing outside in the cold October rain. I was 24 years old, married for 2 years, and apparently no longer welcome at family gatherings. But Jake told me to come. He said it was mandatory. The whole family reunion. My voice cracked. I hated how weak I sounded. She smiled that cruel smile I'd learned to fear. Oh, honey, Jake's here with us. Where he belongs? But this dinner, it's for blood family only. Surely you understand. I didn't understand. Jake was my husband. We'd driven 6 hours together yesterday. We'd checked into the hotel together. He'd kissed me goodbye this morning and said, "See you at dinner, babe." "Can I at least talk to Jake?" I whispered. "He's busy." She started closing the door. That's when I heard it. His laugh. That specific laugh he only did when he was truly happy. Coming from inside. He wasn't looking for me. He wasn't wondering where I was. He knew I wasn't invited. Through the window, I saw him raise his wine glass. His brother clapped him on the back. My sister-in-law Emma was there too, smiling, fitting in perfectly like she always did. She caught my eye through the glass. For 1 second, I thought she might help me. Instead, she looked away and whispered something to Jake's sister. They both laughed. "Please," I said. "There must be some mistake." "No mistake, dear. Now run along before you embarrass yourself more than you already have." The door clicked shut. The lock turned. I stood there in the rain, staring at my own reflection in the window, watching my husband celebrate with his family while I shivered outside like a stranger. My phone buzzed. A text from Jake's mom to the family group chat that I was apparently still in. "So grateful to have all my real children here tonight." 17 people saw that message. Not one person defended me. How long had they been planning this? I walked back to the hotel in the rain. 43 minutes on foot because I didn't have the car. Jake had taken it this morning, saying he needed to pick up some things before dinner. Another lie in a growing collection. My hands shook as I unlocked the hotel room door. Our suitcases were still there, side by side. His cologne still hung in the air from this morning. Everything looked normal. Everything was a lie. I sat on the edge of the bed, soaking wet, and tried to understand. When had I become disposable? What had I done to deserve this? The memories started flooding back. Little comments I'd ignored. "You're not really one of us yet. Maybe next year you'll understand our traditions. Blood is thicker than water, sweetie." I'd laughed them off. I'd tried harder. I'd brought gifts, learned recipes, remembered birthdays. I'd been an idiot. My phone rang. Jake. Finally. "Hey, babe, where are you?" His voice was casual, like nothing was wrong. Like he hadn't just let his mother humiliate me. "Where am I? Where am I?" My voice rose. "I'm in the hotel room, Jake, because your mother told me I'm not family. Because I wasn't invited to dinner. The dinner you told me was mandatory." Silence. Then, "Oh, yeah. Mom thought it would be better this year to keep it just blood relatives. It's not personal. Not personal. You knew. You knew and you let me stand there in the rain like a fool." "Don't be dramatic. It's just one dinner. You can order room service or something. I'll be back later." He sounded annoyed. With me. Like I was the problem. "Jake, we're married." "I am your family. Look, I can't do this right now. Everyone's waiting for dessert. We'll talk later, okay?" The line went dead. I stared at the phone. He'd hung up on me. Chosen dessert over his wife. Something inside me cracked. Not broke. Cracked. There's a difference. When something breaks, it's over. When it cracks, you can still feel everything. That's when I noticed the hotel stationery on the desk. And next to it, Jake's laptop. Still open. Still logged in. What else had he been lying about? His email was open. I shouldn't have looked. But when your husband leaves you standing in the rain while his family laughs at you, marriage rules start to feel pretty flexible. The first email made my stomach drop. Subject line: "The plan." Sent 3 weeks ago from Jake's mother to Jake, his brother, and his sister. Boys and Sarah, I think it's time we phase her out. She doesn't fit our family values, and frankly, she never will. The reunion is the perfect opportunity. Let's make her feel unwelcome enough that she'll leave on her own. Jake, you know what needs to happen. We discussed the timeline. They had a timeline for getting rid of me. I scrolled down. Jake's response, agreed, Mom. She's been clingy lately anyway. And with the inheritance coming up, we need to make sure everything stays in the family. The lawyer said as long as we're not officially divorced yet, it's complicated. But if she leaves me first, it's cleaner. The inheritance. His grandmother had died 4 months ago. Left everything to family members in good standing. Jake's share was estimated at $700,000. Suddenly, everything made sense. The distance. The cold shoulders. The way he'd been picking fights over nothing. He didn't want to divorce me. He wanted me to leave him. Make it look like my choice. My hands trembled as I kept reading. More emails, plans, strategies. His sister had suggested accidentally leaving me out of photos. His brother recommended forgetting to include me in group activities. His mother orchestrated everything like a conductor leading a symphony of cruelty. There was even an email from Emma, my sister-in-law, the one I'd considered a friend. Maybe I should tell her I saw Jake with someone else. Plant the seed? She seems naive enough to believe anything. They'd been torturing me on purpose. Every single moment. I wanted to scream, to throw his laptop against the wall, to run back to that lake house and show them all what I'd found. But then I saw another email, recent, from yesterday. The sender's name made my blood freeze. Morrison and Associates Legal. Subject line, RE, Dissolution Strategy and Asset Protection. I clicked it open. My vision blurred as I read the legal terminology. Jake had already consulted a divorce attorney, had already started paperwork, had already planned how to hide assets, claim I was unstable, and make sure I left the marriage with almost nothing. The consultation was scheduled for next week, right after the reunion. They were going to use this weekend as evidence of my dramatic behavior. How long could you plan someone's destruction before it became evil? I took screenshots of everything. Every email, every message, every cruel, calculated word. My phone's camera clicked softly in the quiet hotel room, documenting 2 years of lies. Then I saw the final folder, family meeting notes. I almost didn't open it, but I'd already crossed every line tonight. What was one more? The document opened. Minutes from a family meeting. Dated 6 months ago, before Grandmother Helen had even died. Meeting called to order by Patricia Whitmore regarding Jacob's marriage situation. His mother had called a formal meeting about me, like I was a business problem to solve. I read faster. My name appeared 17 times, each mention worse than the last. She's not one of us. She doesn't understand our world. Her family has no standing. We made a mistake allowing this marriage. And then, the line that made me want to vomit. Jacob admits the marriage was impulsive. He was 23 and stupid. We can fix this, Jacob admits. My husband had sat in a room with his family and agreed that marrying me was a mistake. 6 months ago, while still kissing me goodnight, while still saying I love you, while still sharing my bed. The meeting notes continued. They'd voted. Actually voted on whether I should remain in the family. The vote was 8-2 against me. Only Jake's grandfather and his Aunt Lucy had defended me. Everyone else wanted me gone. Motion passes, the notes read. Timeline. Phase out by December. Inheritance distribution, January. Clean break. I was a timeline. A phase-out plan. A problem to eliminate before the money came. My entire marriage was a lie I just hadn't been told about yet. Something changed in me right then. The girl who'd stood in the rain begging for scraps died. Someone else took her place. Someone colder, smarter. I pulled out my own laptop and created a new folder. Evidence. I uploaded every screenshot. Then I did something I'd never done before. I logged into Jake's bank accounts. We had shared access, technically. For emergencies. This was an emergency. The transactions told another story. Payments to his mother's account. Large ones. Loan repayment, they said. But there'd never been a loan. Hotel charges in cities I'd never visited with him. Restaurant bills for two when he'd said he was working late. And then, the one that made my heart stop, a jewelry purchase. Tiffany & Co. $3,000? 2 weeks ago? I'd never received any jewelry. I checked the delivery address. Not our home. An apartment across town. Unit 412. A woman's name on the file, delivered to M. Chen. Who the hell was M. Chen? I sat in that hotel room for 2 hours, frozen. The rain had stopped. The night had gone quiet. Somewhere across town, my husband was eating cake with his family, celebrating my erasure. And somewhere else, in Unit 412, there was a woman wearing a $3,000 necklace my husband had bought her. I grabbed my jacket and my phone. The hotel concierge gave me a strange look when I asked for the address of the apartment complex, but he wrote it down. 20 minutes by cab. You sure you want to go there this late, miss? The driver asked, eyeing me in the rearview mirror. I must have looked insane. Hair still damp from the rain, mascara probably smudged, hands shaking. I'm sure. The Meridian apartments were nice. Too nice. The kind of place that required keycard access and had a doorman. The kind of place Jake always said we couldn't afford. Can I help you? The doorman was polite but firm. I'm looking for Unit 412, M. Chen? His expression shifted. Something like pity crossed his face. Are you family? I'm his wife. The words hung in the air. The doorman's pity deepened into something worse. Understanding. 4th floor, he said quietly. But ma'am, maybe you should... I was already walking toward the elevator. My heart hammered as I rode up. What was I doing? What would I find? Maybe M. Chen was a colleague, a friend. Maybe there was an explanation. But the jewelry, the secret apartment, the lies. I knew what I'd find before I knocked on that door. Unit 412. The numbers gleamed gold against the dark wood. I could hear music inside. Soft jazz. Laughter. A woman's voice saying something I couldn't make out. I knocked. 3 solid raps. The music stopped. Footsteps approached. The door opened. She was beautiful. Mid-20s like me. Long dark hair. Perfect skin. Wearing an oversized shirt that definitely belonged to a man. And around her neck, catching the light from the hallway, was a delicate diamond necklace. Tiffany & Co. Can I help you? She asked, confused but not unkind. Are you Chen? I'm Michelle. Who are you? Behind her I saw it. Men's shoes by the door. Jake's shoes. The same Nike sneakers he'd worn this morning. A jacket on the coat rack. His jacket. The one with the broken zipper I'd been meaning to fix. I'm Jake's wife, I said. The color drained from her face. Her hand flew to her mouth, then to the necklace, as if trying to hide it. His what? She didn't know. This woman, wearing his gifts, living in his apartment, didn't know I existed. How many lies could one man tell? Michelle stumbled backward. Wife? No, that's not... Jake said he was single. He said... Her voice cracked. We've been together for 8 months. 8 months. I'd been sleeping next to him for 8 months while he built an entire second life. While he kissed me goodbye in the mornings and came here at night. Can I come in? I asked. She nodded, too shocked to refuse. The apartment was small but expensive. Modern furniture. Fresh flowers on the counter. Photos on the wall. Photos of them. Jake and Michelle at the beach. At restaurants. At what looked like a family gathering. Wait. I stepped closer to that last photo. Jake with his arm around Michelle. And next to them, smiling wide, was his mother. His sister. His brother. When was this taken? My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. Last month. His family threw him a birthday dinner. They were so sweet to me. His mom kept saying how perfect we were together. Michelle's voice was hollow. How I was exactly what their family needed. They'd met her, approved her, welcomed her while they were planning my elimination. Did they ever mention me? I asked. Jake said his ex-wife was crazy, that she wouldn't leave him alone even though they'd been separated for over a year. that the divorce was almost final. Michelle looked at me with growing horror. That's not true, is it? We live together. Sleep in the same bed. He kissed me this morning. I pulled out my phone, showed her our photos. Our wedding picture. Last week's grocery store selfie. Yesterday's drive here. Michelle sat down hard on the couch. Oh my God, I'm the other woman. She pressed her hands to her face. You didn't know, I said. And I meant it. Looking at her, I saw myself. Another girl who'd believed his lies. There's more, I said quietly. I showed her the emails. The family meeting notes. The inheritance plan. Michelle's face hardened as she read. That son of a bitch. That calculating son of a bitch. He's at the lake house right now. With his family. They uninvited me from dinner tonight. Their plan is working. What are you going to do? Michelle asked. I looked at her. Really looked at her. She was supposed to be my enemy. My replacement, but sitting there in that apartment, both of us betrayed by the same man, I saw something else. An ally. I'm going to destroy him, I said. But I can't do it alone. Michelle's eyes met mine. Something dangerous flickered there. She reached up and unclasped the necklace, holding it in her palm like evidence. Tell me what you need. We spent 3 hours planning. Michelle made coffee while I laid out everything on her dining table. Emails, bank statements, photos, receipts, 2 years of lies organized into neat piles of evidence. His family thinks I'll just disappear quietly, I said. They think I'm weak. They don't know you at all, Michelle said, scrolling through the financial documents. Look at this. He's been moving money into offshore accounts. Started right after his grandmother died. She was sharper than I'd given her credit for. Worked in forensic accounting. Of course Jake would choose someone who could help him hide assets. Does he know what you do for a living? I asked. Michelle smiled coldly. I told him I was a yoga instructor. Men like Jake don't ask questions when you're pretty enough. Smart girl. I have a friend, she continued. Works at Morrison and Associates, the firm Jake consulted. She pulled out her phone. Let me make a call. 20 minutes later, we had copies of Jake's entire divorce strategy. His lawyer had outlined everything. Claim I was mentally unstable, argue the marriage was coerced, hide the inheritance money, leave me with nothing. They actually wrote down, make her look crazy in front of witnesses. This weekend was the setup, Michelle said, disgusted. Then let's give them a show, I said. But not the one they're expecting. Michelle looked at me. What are you thinking? Tomorrow's the big family brunch. Everyone will be there, including you. Me? But you're Jake's girlfriend. The woman his family already loves. The replacement they handpicked, I smiled. Let's introduce you to the wife they're trying to erase. Michelle's expression shifted. Understanding bloomed. You want to confront them, all of them, together. I want to burn their perfect little world down. She raised her coffee mug. I'm in. We worked until sunrise, building our case, planning every word. By the time the sun came up, we weren't just victims anymore. We were an army of two. The lake house looked beautiful in the morning light. All glass and stone, reflected perfectly in the water. The kind of place that screamed old money and family legacy. I walked up the driveway at exactly 9 a.m. Michelle followed 30 seconds behind, as planned. My hands were steady now. No more shaking. No more tears. I didn't knock. I walked straight in. The family was gathered in the sunroom. Mimosas and fresh pastries. Everyone dressed in their expensive casual clothes. Jake sat at the head of the table, laughing at something his brother said. His mother saw me first. What are you doing here? I thought we made it clear that I'm not family? I finished. You did. Very clear. Jake stood up, his face flushing. Babe, what are you doing? You're embarrassing yourself. Am I? I pulled out my phone. Should we talk about embarrassment, Jake? Should we discuss who's been embarrassed here? His mother stepped forward. Young lady, I'm going to have to ask you to leave before... The door opened behind me. Michelle walked in. Jake's face went white. Actually white. Like he'd seen a ghost. Michelle? His sister said, confused. What are you doing here with her? Hi, everyone, Michelle said cheerfully. Sorry I'm late to the family brunch. Traffic was terrible from the apartment. The apartment. I watched realization spread across their faces like poison. Wait, Jake's brother said slowly. You two know each other? Know each other? I laughed. We're practically sisters. Both of us sleeping with the same man. Both of us lied to. Both of us pawns in your little inheritance scheme. Jake? His mother's voice was sharp. What is she talking about? Jake opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Michelle held up the Tiffany necklace. He gave me this 2 weeks ago. Told me he loved me. Told me his crazy ex-wife was finally out of his life. She looked at me. Except she's not his ex. She's his current wife, and I'm the idiot mistress who didn't know. You're lying, Jake finally managed. Michelle, she's manipulating you. She's crazy, I told you. I pulled out the printed emails. Threw them on the breakfast table. They scattered across the pastries like confetti. Read them, I said. Read your own words. Jake's mother grabbed the papers, her mimosa forgotten. Her eyes scanned the words. Her perfectly composed face cracked. Jacob, tell me this isn't real. Mom, I can explain. Explain? His father's voice boomed. I'd barely heard him speak before. You kept a mistress in an apartment we're paying for? While plotting to defraud your wife? Wait, they were paying for it? Michelle jumped in. The rent comes from an account labeled property management. I thought Jake owned the building. His brother laughed bitterly. That's the family trust fund. Jesus, Jake. You used family money for your affair? The room erupted. Everyone talking at once. Accusing. Defending. Jake stood in the center, his perfect plan disintegrating. But his mother wasn't done. She turned to me, eyes cold. You think you've won? You're still nothing, still not worthy of this family. You're right, I said calmly. I don't want to be part of this family, but I am legally entitled to half of everything Jake owns, including his share of the inheritance. The inheritance is family money, and I'm family, legally. Ask your lawyer. I pulled out my own documents. I already did. Morrison and Associates was very helpful once they knew Jake was planning to commit fraud. Jake lunged forward. You contacted my lawyer? Our lawyer, Michelle corrected. Turns out my friend at the firm was very interested in attorney-client privilege violations, especially when it involves hiding marital assets. His sister stood up. Wait, you're working together? Against Jake? Against all of you, I said. Every email, every meeting note, every plan to humiliate me. It's documented, and it's evidence of intentional infliction of emotional distress. The grandfather, the one who'd voted for me, started laughing. Actually laughing. Patricia, you orchestrated your own son's destruction. Brilliant. His mother's face turned purple. You have no proof of anything, I smiled. Actually, I have everything. Jake's laptop. Bank records. Emails from your personal account. Meeting minutes you wrote. I looked at Jake. You should really change your passwords. The room went silent. His Aunt Lucy, the other one who'd defended me, started clapping slowly. Well done, dear. Well done. Jake's world was burning, and I was holding the match. 3 months later, I stood in a different room. A courtroom. Clean, cold, and perfectly just. Jake sat at the defendant's table with his expensive lawyer who couldn't save him from his own emails. His family sat behind him, their unity shattered. Turned out when money was at stake, loyalty evaporated. The judge reviewed the settlement agreement. Mrs. Whitmore, you're entitled to half of all marital assets, including the inheritance received during marriage. Additionally, given the documented emotional distress and fraud attempt, I'm awarding you an additional $200,000 in damages. I watched Jake's face collapse. Nearly $1 million. Gone. Furthermore, the judge continued, regarding the apartment lease under fraudulent pretenses using family trust funds, the trustee has elected to pursue separate civil action. His mother made a sound like a wounded animal. Their family trust was being audited because of Jake's stupidity. Michelle testified too. Her accounting expertise had unraveled every hidden account, every secret transaction. She didn't do it for me. She did it because Jake had made her the fool. After the ruling, I walked out into the sunshine. Free. Wealthy enough to start over. Strong enough to never be that girl in the rain again. Michelle was waiting by her car. Drink tonight? Celebrate? Absolutely. As I drove away, I passed the lake house. A for sale sign stood in the yard. Turned out the family couldn't afford it anymore. Not after legal fees, settlements, and the trust fund investigation. My tears in the rain had cost them everything. I didn't feel guilty. I felt alive. Jake had tried to erase me. Instead, I'd rewritten the entire story. The weak girl they'd dismissed had dismantled their empire with nothing but evidence and patience. I thought about that night often, standing outside in the cold, believing I was nothing. Now I knew the truth. I'd never been nothing. I'd been underestimated, and that had been their fatal mistake.